Big time co-main event coming up this weekend. Ranked fighters. Now, Geoff Neal slid to 13th in the rankings, but he did pick up a big win his last time out. He's taking on Vicente Luque, and the opposite cannot be said for Vicente. Definitely didn't have his best performances last time out, where Belal Muhammad just ran a train on him. I mean, just became a Brill Bruiser, like the album by the New Pornographers. Great song on that vinyl. Canadian band. But when it does come down to this matchup, for both of these guys, Geoff Neal, great striker, great boxer, very reserved. When he gets his opponents hurt, he knows exactly what to do. And if you look at Geoff Neal, he did have a hard time figuring out Neil Magny, did have a hard time against Wonderboy. Before that, big wins, but that was the thing. He finished Mike Perry, and then there was that long layoff. And Geoff Neal had a really rough patch in his career, in his life. He had to kind of figure things out, pick the pieces back up, and then lose two straight to get where he's at right now. And Geoff Neal, I don't know if the best days are behind him. I don't know if the best days are yet to come. I guess the same thing could be said for Vicente Luque, who is, of course, ranked higher. But when you stack these two guys up, for Luque, 4 Fight of the Night bonuses, 4 performance bonuses. For Geoff Neal, he does have 1 performance bonus to his credit over Nico Price. Nico Price, a combined 0-3 against these guys, so probably don't watch this fight, but you know he will. Oh, yeah. You know he's somewhere in Florida watching this one in a basement, just getting amped and jacked, and he wants to fight again. When I do look at this one, it's an interesting fight. It's 2 top guys at 170, and I like the matchmaking in this fight.
And it still feels like they both need a win, because for Geoff Neal, he looked good against Ponzinibbio, but he didn't look great, for being honest. It was a really close fight between those two guys, and Neal didn't show us anything we didn't already know about him, and that's the one thing that might point to he hasn't improved that much since his long layoff before the Wonderboy fight. He had heart failure at one point, like he had some very serious injuries right before the Wonderboy fight, and that was a really bad performance if we're just being honest. Like, Wonderboy had him rocked on multiple occasions. He could never really corner Wonderboy into one side of the cage to really let go with his own offense, and that won't be a problem for him at all against Vicente Luque, who loves nothing more than just getting into wildfire fights. But the way that I think about this fight is a lot like I thought about Rafael Alves versus Drew Dober and last weekend's card. We had that as a fight of the night, and we have this on the fight of the night screen too. If this does happen to become one of those fight of the night style fights, then it heavily favors Vicente Luque, because Luque not only has been in those types of fights before, but he tends to excel when he's eating a big shot and giving a big shot for his troubles, whereas Geoff Neal likes to get in and get out and be very clean while he does it. Think about the knockout when he had over Mike Perry. Hits him with a straight left hand, a head kick, and it's basically over from that point on. We've talked about it for a long time, about how Geoff Neal's one of the best, like, shark in the water when he smells blood type of fighters. He doesn't overexert himself when he goes for a finish. He picks his shots very intelligently, and he's really accurate, too, with his power shots, which is something that you can't say enough about, because we see a lot of fighters in a lot of divisions just throw punches and throw at air 99% of the time. Geoff Neal makes his shots count, which is always something I've really enjoyed watching his fighting style. But in this fight against Luque, I think it's going to be really interesting to see, where does Geoff Neal have the most success at? Because he really likes that kicking range, especially with his own boxing. He has long-range boxing attacks. He likes that head kick with his left leg. The problem is, if Geoff Neal does stand in kicking range with Vicente Luque, Luque is one of the best leg kickers in the UFC. I know a lot of the times you think about, like, Justin Gaethje, you think about Edson Barbosa, but Luque is right up there with the best of them. So if Luque is able to chop down at the legs of Geoff Neal, make him a little bit more stationary, take away some of that kicking offense, I don't know how much I like just the pure boxing of Geoff Neal against the boxing of a guy like Vicente Luque.
When you try and break this one down for Vicente Luque, how do you beat him? You rock him, you finish him.
Wrestle him.
You wrestle him, you wrestle him, you wrestle him. I've got 10 fingers, luckily, and out of all of those 10, one of them is going to be, okay, you beat him in the striking. The rest is you out-wrestle him, and you don't get stuck in a choke that he's going to throw your way. And I mean, obviously we saw Belal Muhammad do that, but that's not a big part of Geoff Neal's game. It's defend the takedown so I can continue to strike, and Geoff Neal's very good at that. But when it comes to a pure striking matchup, we've been talking about it the whole card. Swiss Army knife out of Vicente Luque. Obviously for Geoff Neal, he's had fights where the threat of the kick's been a big, big thing for him. The Mike Perry fight is a great example of that. But when I look down at this one, I mean, for Vicente Luque, that main event against Belal Muhammad was just over 3 months ago. The last fight for Geoff Neal, about 7, was the split decision win over Ponzinibbio. Whether you saw it for Ponzinibbio or Neal, that's neither here nor there when it enters into this fight. But when you look at the odds, Luque open to minus 175, minus 180. For Geoff Neal, open to plus 150, plus 145, somewhere around there, plus 155. We have a look at the Topology votes, Matt. Surprise us there to you. I'm going to say over under 75% Luque.
I think they'll be over.
And they're way over. 1,153 total votes. 91% Luque, 51% by decision, 22% by submission, 20% by knockout for the 9% that have Neal, 70% by decision. If we made this video 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, this would be like a 15-minute video and we wouldn't shut up about it and people would get upset.
I mean, I still have a lot to say if you want to make it that long.
I don't really think I need to. I mean, I don't know if Geoff Neal's improved a whole heck of a lot, and I haven't seen it from him in a few years now. That's my trouble.
And the other thing is, Luque's one of the best offensive grapplers with his submissions in the division. Like, yeah, he can get out-wrestled by some guys, but look at who he got out-wrestled by. Michael Chiesa, before he submitted him. Leon Edwards, a guy fighting for the title right now. Like, these are and Bilal Muhammad, one of the best pure wrestlers in the division. Geoff Neal's going to make this fight very exciting, but let's think about the trajectory of a lot of fighters just getting in the top 15. It's okay. We finally broke into the top 15. You gotta win 5 or 6 fights normally just to be able to do that. Then we start to see how well you do against ranked competition. For Geoff Neal, he did start to lose basically immediately once he started fighting those ranked fighters, and he has had a lot of trouble with fighters in their prime, whereas Vicente Luque made it pretty far into the top 15 before he ever faced any adversity. Now, yes, his fights were always tough. He's always going to eat some big power shots, but for the most part, Luque was able to handle these guys who we consider elite in this division before he faced up against a stylistic nightmare in Bilal Muhammad, a guy who can box them a little bit on the outside because of his incredible volume. And then we all know what's going to happen the second Luque tries to plant and land his own power shots. Bilal Muhammad's going to duck under and shoot his own takedown. So I think Geoff Neal has the ability to make this fight extremely fun. Probably get to a decision, make this a fight of the night where both guys might even get dropped. The problem is, after that one big storm that Geoff Neal brings, I don't really know what he has to offer after that. I know he is a good fighter after that one point, but again, it's that big storm, and then it's a lot of pitter-patter, a lot of single shots in the back foot, whereas with Luque, the storm never ends. Like, the second he gets on the inside, he's going to eat your best shot. He's going to try to respond with his best shot.
And for Saud, between rounds, you have to expect he's going to get fired up. It's not a 5-round fight, so, you know, less opportunity for that. But for Geoff Neal, once he starts to follow you around the cage instead of cutting the cage with his footwork, and his footwork's good, but after a while it kind of falls off a little bit. Once he's chasing you, obviously Wonder Boy, one of the greatest tacticians in the division, he just chased him and kept eating shots for his trouble. When you're chasing a guy like Vicente Luque, that's when the straight shots start to loop and you get hit by a big one. So I look at the overall skill set. I like Vicente Luque in this matchup. I honestly kind of halfway surprised with myself that I don't have more to say about it, but I look at it as the upper levels of competition in this division. Luque's excelled against them. More complete skill set. I go with Luque here.
But how good is the welterweight division right now? Like, we have, what, the number 7 and the number 14. In some divisions, that's going to make a boring fight. I can't guarantee you much in life. Vicente Luque versus Geoff Neal is going to be an awesome fight. Like, I am looking forward to this more than the main event, if I'm being completely honest, because I think Luque and Neal both still have another run in the rankings in them. You know, I don't think this is going to be it, even for the loser. I really do think that they're going to have a lot of competitive fights with a lot of great fighters from this point out. And the good thing about the welterweight division, last point, is I don't care if you're ranked 25th to 15th in the division. You're going to have a bunch of fun fights. You're going to fight guys like Li Jingliang, guys like Randy Brown, like top-tier fighters who we can all get excited for. So I think this will be an incredible fight, but I agree with you. I'd be a silent assassin.
And I mean, what if the UFC decided, because this is such a good division, let's headline a pay-per-view with Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz? Because they did that. So get excited for that one and that pay-per-view. Ugh. Both of us going with Vicente Luque to get the wheel. Yikes, the win over Geoff Neal, putting it all together. We have a big-time main event coming up this weekend. Thiago Santos taking on Sweet Dreams Are Made of These, Jamal Hill. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into it.